That game was painful to watch, and I know you felt it too. Every Cowboys fan who tuned in against the Ravens saw a team that looked completely unprepared in the areas we already knew were weak. I understand it's preseason and many people will dismiss what happens in these games. But here's the truth. What we saw wasn't just preseason sloppiness. It was a reminder of problems that have followed this team for years, and if they're not fixed quickly, they could ruin another season. Let's put things in perspective. The Eagles, who are supposed to be one of the most complete rosters in football, only managed 88 yards of total offense in their preseason matchup. That's terrible, no question. The Cowboys, for all their struggles, actually put up more, finishing with 178 yards. On paper, that looks like progress, but when you look deeper, there's nothing reassuring about it. The offense was inconsistent, the defense got pushed around, and the most glaring issue, the inability to stop the run, was on full display once again. The Ravens didn't have to do anything complicated. They ran the football straight at the heart of the Dallas defense, and the Cowboys couldn't stop it. About 139 rushing yards were surrendered, and that's with most of the defensive line seeing plenty of snaps. If you've been following this team closely, that shouldn't surprise you. This isn't a new problem, and it sure doesn't look like the front office has found an answer. So while people may shrug off a preseason loss, the truth is, these games expose depth issues, conditioning problems, and poor roster planning. You don't have to look too hard to see that Jerry Jones and this front office continue to gamble by ignoring the defensive interior, hoping the offense can simply outscore everyone else. But how long can that strategy work when teams know they can pound the ball right down your throat? And that brings me to you. Do you think these preseason struggles are a real warning sign of what's to come, or is it just meaningless football? Drop your take in the comments with a simple answer. Real problem or preseason noise? And while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to help us push toward our goal of 16,000 subscribers. It's your support that keeps these conversations alive, and trust me, we'll need to keep having them all season long. The Cowboys' defensive line has been a weakness for so long that it almost feels like part of the team's identity. You and I have been talking about it for years, and yet here we are again. Against the Ravens, it was the same old story. Dallas could not hold the line of scrimmage, could not plug the gaps, and once again showed that when opponents decide to run straight at them, there's little resistance. It's a frustrating pattern, and it isn't new. Think back. Since the days of Jay Ratliff, the Cowboys have failed to field a dominant interior presence. They've tried, sure. Quinton Bohanna, John Ridgeway, Tristan Hill. Names that sounded promising on draft day but never lived up to expectations. Some of them flashed talent elsewhere, others disappeared completely. And now we're left looking at Mazi Smith, the most recent attempt, and wondering if the front office really knows how to scout and develop defensive tackles at all. Instead of investing in proven talent, the Cowboys keep recycling players at the end of their careers. They bring in guys who once had big names but are well past their prime, hoping to squeeze out one last season on a bargain contract. More often than not, those players are out of the league completely after their stint in Dallas. It's a cost-cutting strategy, but one that leaves the team exposed when it matters most. That's what makes this so frustrating. The front office knows exactly where the problems are. Fans know, analysts know, even Jerry Jones admits it in interviews. Yet year after year, the solutions never come. The Cowboys act reactive, never proactive, and the result is a defense that can look fast and flashy on the outside, but is soft right up the middle. And here's where I want your opinion. Out of all the defensive tackle experiments the Cowboys have made over the years, which one disappointed you the most? Do you think Mazi Smith can still turn into the answer, or are we headed for another wasted draft pick? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget, if you want more deep dives into these long-term roster mistakes, subscribing is the best way to support the channel as we push for 16,000. If the defense gave you reasons to worry, the offense didn't exactly calm those nerves either. What stood out against the Ravens was how shaky the offensive line looked and how ineffective the run game was. And let's be honest, without a consistent running attack, Dak Prescott is going to carry an unfair share of the load, which is exactly the scenario we've been warning about all offseason. Take a closer look at the offensive line. Tyler Guyton at left tackle is supposed to be one of the key pieces for the future, but so far the growing pains are obvious. He's young, talented, and still learning, but those struggles can't be ignored when protecting the franchise quarterback is the top priority. And while Tyler Biadasz used to give stability inside, his absence has only highlighted how thin this unit has become. One or two injuries here, and suddenly you're talking about plugging in inexperienced players against elite pass rushers. Then there's the running back situation. Miles Sanders was supposed to be the safe veteran signing, a guy who could give the Cowboys a dependable option. But 7 carries for 15 yards at just over 2 yards per attempt, that's not good enough. When you watch him side by side with Austin Gentry, the difference in burst and energy is striking. Sanders looks hesitant, almost like he's missing a step, while Gentry runs like a player desperate to prove he belongs. The comparison is painful because one is supposed to be the veteran leader of the group. Malik Davis had one nice run, but of course it was called back because of a holding penalty, which only made things worse. Right now, the Cowboys don't have that one back who can tilt the game in their favor. And without that, Dak is going to be asked to throw and throw and throw, something we know can't be sustained over an entire season. So let me throw the question to you. Do you still believe Miles Sanders can be the #1 back for this team, or should the Cowboys already start searching for alternatives? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you believe Dak can carry the offense no matter what, hit that like button to show your support. Quarterback has always been a touchy subject in Dallas, and the Ravens game only added fuel to the fire. Joe Milton finally got some extended looks, and what we saw was exactly what most scouts warned about. Raw talent, a rocket arm, but very little polish. Watching him in the pocket, UT could almost predict the mistakes before they happened. The happy feet, the bouncing, the way he locked onto his receivers, every throw was telegraphed, and defenses at this level eat that alive. Now don't get me wrong. To even make it this far, Milton clearly has ability. You can't throw 80 yards downfield without real gifts. But the difference between raw arm talent and being an NFL quarterback is massive. Timing, touch, reading defenses, none of that looked ready, and the Cowboys knew that when they spent a 5th-round pick to bring him in. The real problem is this: Dallas has no plan when it comes to quarterbacks. Think about it. The last 2 successful ones, Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, weren't the result of sharp scouting. They were the result of luck. Romo was undrafted. Dak fell in their lap after the team missed on higher picks. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have a history of chasing names that turned into disasters. They wanted Johnny Manziel. They wanted Paxton Lynch. They traded for Trey Lance. They even rolled the dice on Ryan Leaf at one point. When you look at the list, you see more mistakes than smart moves, and that pattern isn't slowing down. And this is where it ties back to Dak. The front office has failed time and time again to bring in a legitimate developmental quarterback. That means if Prescott goes down, the entire season collapses. Milton may one day develop, but right now he's not close to being ready, and the Cowboys are once again one play away from total disaster. So let me ask you directly, do you think Joe Milton will ever be ready to start for the Cowboys, yes or no? Drop your answer below, and if you appreciate straight talk about this team's quarterback situation, subscribe now and help us reach 16,000 strong. At the end of the day, everything comes back to 2 things: Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott. If the Cowboys want to compete this season, Parsons has to be signed, motivated, and fully engaged. He's the heartbeat of this defense, the one player who can change a game with a single play. Yet the front office has dragged its feet, turning what could have been a smooth extension into another circus act. Instead of securing their best player early, They waited until the price skyrocketed, and now the whole situation has become messy. That's reactive management at its worst. And then there's Dak. The reality is simple. This entire team depends on his health. If he stays upright, keeps his arm fresh, and gets even modest help. From the run game, the Cowboys can put points on the board with anyone. But if the protection falters, if Dak takes too many hits, or if his throwing shoulder starts to wear down from constant overuse, the season falls apart fast. Because let's be honest, there is no safety net behind him. What makes this so frustrating is that it didn't have to be this way. Jerry Jones himself admits the team has to do better, but his actions tell a different story. Instead of solving problems in the trenches, instead of locking down stars early, instead of building depth, he's more interested in turning the Cowboys into a never-ending headline. The open practices, the media hype, the constant spectacle, it feels less like a football team and more like a traveling circus. That's the harsh truth. The starters need to be outstanding, and they need to stay healthy because the depth just isn't there. One wrong injury, one extended absence, and the season derails. And for fans like you and me, it's hard to keep defending this front office when the same mistakes repeat themselves year after year. So here's my final question for you. Do you believe Jerry Jones is truly committed to winning championships, or is he more focused on keeping the Cowboys in the spotlight? Drop your honest answer in the comments, and if you're tired of the clown show just like me, hit that subscribe button and help us grow this community to 16,000 strong. Together, we'll keep holding this team accountable.